Hello everyone, and welcome back to Chilling Nights. Thank you for tuning in to another video this week. This week we have a special video. We're going to be reading true scary Reddit tales. Hopefully you enjoy it, and let's get right into it. This next story is titled Traumatizing Night Shift. This is probably the creepiest, most unexplainable thing that has ever happened to me. I used to work overnight as a security guard at the local port. Usually none of the port workers would stay overnight except for the safety official. I wouldn't be on the shift alone since the site has a radius of nearly 2 miles. Overnight, usually there would be 3 guards, including me. Since the area was fairly big, there was different posts, but front gate was the main entrance area where all the guards would be stationed overnight, since there was no need to put them in any other post due to the fact that there was no activity in the site at this time. The veteran guards that have been there for years would often say that the site was haunted, given the fact that there have been accidents and deaths that have occurred in the area a long time ago. I was aware that people died there due to freak accidents, and I do believe in angels and demons, since I'm actually a religious person. But I always thought that the superiors were just messing with the new guys. I would work 5 to 6 nights out of the week, and for the first few weeks, I never really saw or heard anything out of the ordinary, except for maybe a few questionable creaks and would see a few misplaced objects while doing my patrol rounds. But nothing too crazy. Just describing the setting to you, this is a fairly big site, and on occasions there would be big projects being constructed at the port. The workers would sometimes stay overnight, due to the fact that there were times where port workers were required to stay at the port for a few days. There's a gym in the site for their convenience. The gym is fairly old. In the gym, there's a sauna, weights, and even a racquetball court. If you don't know what a racquetball court is, it's similar to an indoor tennis court within plastered walls and thick glass doors. Usually on our patrol rounds, me and one of the other guards, Mike, would stop by the gym and play a few rounds of racquetball before returning back to the front gate. On one of those nights, me and Mike decided to hit a full workout instead of playing racquetball in the cage. This was around 2:30 a.m., and the entire building is so quiet that you can hear the electricity running through the lights. The air conditioner is off, and so is everything else. The only thing that's running are the lights. 15 to 20 minutes into the workout, we hear a loud thump. We crossed it off as nothing and continued working out. Then after a few more minutes, we heard the loud thump once more. At first, we thought it was our lieutenant, which could have been walking around, but then we radioed him and he gave us his location, which was front gate. We tried thinking logically on what could be making those thumps on the wall. They were coming from the court on the other side. We thought it was the air conditioner, but then we remembered that it was off, and even it's switched on during the day. There's no reports of thumps coming from the air conditioner. After a few more minutes, the thumps started occurring one right after another. We were very creeped out at this point, but what we were about to witness still scares the absolute shit out of me to this day. We started to approach the other side of the gym to where the glass door was. We turned on the flashlight and aimed it towards the clear glass door, and I got chills all over my body, and I started tearing so much out of fear that I was about to cry. We saw one of the balls rolling slowly by itself inside the court, but there was no one in there. So that means that the loud thumps were the balls mysteriously being tossed against the wall as if someone/something was inside the cage. We were both so confused and frightened to how this was really happening. We couldn't make sense of any of it. We were scared shitless, and we started yelling and running away because we knew that there was probably something evil toying with us right there. As we sprinted full speed back to the front gate, the lieutenant saw us and asked us why we were tearing and running in a ridiculous manner. We told him what we witnessed, and his facial expression scared us even more. He then said, "That's why there's always guards that quit often. There's something evil in that area." And it's not the first time that something that bad has happened here. He then showed us security footage of dark figures and lights mysteriously switching on and off. To this day, I still get chills recounting my experience with my friends and family, and I'm even getting chills right now as I'm typing this. I had never had a real encounter with the supernatural until that night. Many say that it was a demonic presence messing around. Others say it was the ghost of a dead person who died in that area. I don't know what it was, but I didn't last long in the job after that. There were other experiences, but I'll send it at a later time. This Reddit story is titled, "We Got Lost in a Forest, and it was one of the strangest experiences of my life." The following is a story that took place quite a few years back now. However, it still baffles me completely, and I'd like to share it here. I'm a teenager and I've been in scouting/Boy Scouts for nearly all of my life, and I really enjoy exploring with my friends and being trusted more as I'm older now. A few years ago, me and two girls named Amy and Harriet were asked to head into the woods surrounding our campsite to find a long, straight stick suitable for carving into a point. Bear in mind that I was a lot younger back then. Harriet was older and Amy only 1 year older than myself. We had been walking in deliberately the same direction as not to get lost, and memorizing the surroundings as we went in order to find our way back easily. About 15 minutes in, we couldn't find anything to take back, so we turned around to return to the campsite. The initial outdoor setting was quite weird. The trees had almost unnaturally knitted themselves together in such a way that it seemed like our path was non-existent in the first place, like it had just vanished. We looked around 360 degrees and now everything looked exactly the same. Trees we could have sworn were different from one another appeared as all copies of the same tree. We kept walking in what we thought to be the correct direction while shouting out for help, and eventually came to a concrete path almost like a road but very thin, separating the forest, splitting it into two. We didn't follow the road as it went in the wrong direction to our campsite. On the other side of the path was more forest. However, nearby was an abandoned shack, likely used for storage or whatever else. We had no idea anything like this was out here in these woods, so we just kept walking. We eventually came to a road we didn't recognize. A woman wearing a pink and purple regatta outdoors coat walked past, and we frantically asked her for the direction of our campsite. As by now, according to our watches and Harriet's phone, we'd been walking for an hour and a half. She said she'd never seen any of us before, and that there's another campsite in that direction. We followed her advice and eventually came back to our campsite. We frantically apologized for being so long and that we couldn't find anything. The leader, Ian, could see all three of us were shaken up, and he stated, confused, that we'd only been gone for 25 minutes and that our free time was still going on. To this day, this baffles all three of us, as our free time was 40 minutes long and our watches and phones had said we'd gone for hours. The forest we were in lost felt crushing and claustrophobic, like we'd enter an area that concept of time didn't apply to. I believe in the paranormal. However, this was so unlike anything I've heard or experienced before. It literally was like we'd been in a time vortex or something, and the hours in the forest were only minutes in the rest of the world. The feeling was strange, and it stuck with me for the rest of the camp. Thanks for reading my story. It's a weird one, but it's true. Thank you everyone for tuning in to Chilling Nights and this week's Tales. Until next time.